What is up everyone, how's it going? It's Simon here from CD Revival, and today I'm going to do the next part of my CDs beginning with S, or artists beginning with S, CDs that they have done, albums that they have done. So yeah, we'll go through them now. It's a very hot day today, very sweaty, so hope it's nice where you are and you imagine to keep cool. If you're in the UK, you may be anywhere, anyway. Say anyway more. We'll start with this one, which is the first album from the Stone Roses, famous band from Manchester, England, and this is a bit of a classic album, I guess. It's not my favourite album of theirs. When did this come out? 1989, let's say. Yeah, 1989. Lots of their obviously famous tracks on here. I Want to Be Adored, Waterfall, for example, as well. Made of Stone. This one's not the re-release one with Fool's Gold on it, which is one of their better tracks, I think. But I think it's a decent album. I say it's revered as being sort of some sort of second coming of Christ as far as albums go, but I think it's okay. I think it's, yeah, if you like that kind of jangly kind of stuff. I was always more of a fan of the Happy Mondays anyway, but yeah, good album. First album from the Stone Roses. Let me know what you think of that one. I have got their second album as well, Second Coming it's called. This one came out quite a while afterwards, 1994, so a good 5 years after. This one I honestly do prefer. I think this is a better album. I think it's got some good stuff on it. Things like Driving South is really good, Breaking Into Heaven and Love Spreads, for example, are all excellent tracks. This one's a bit more rocky. Some of the tracks are quite long, yeah, I do, if it's a choice between listening to the first one or this one, generally will go for this one most times out of 10. So yeah, a better album. I do prefer this one, Second Coming. So once again, let me know what your opinions on that are. Next we have another seminal album, Never Mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. This is one of my favourite albums of all time. I think it's yeah, amazing. I think this came out in 1976. It doesn't actually say, but pretty sure if my memory serves. 1977, okay. Yeah, first single came out in 76. But yeah, this is an absolute banger of an album. There's no filler on it. Every track is amazing. Obviously, you've got Pretty Vacant, you've got God Save the Queen, you've got Anarchy in the UK, things like Holidays in the Sun, Bodies, Submission, which I really like. New York's a really underrated track, I think. No Feelings, 17, EMI and Problems. Yeah, every track is a banger. Production is superb on this album. Guitars sound crunchy. John Lydon sounds angrier than he did afterwards, I guess. Although I do like his stuff with Public Image Limited. If you've not checked this album out, I think, by a long stroke, this is the best punk album that, in my opinion, that came out. Certainly around that time and since. It's pretty much perfect in my opinion, and for this video, that is what counts. So superb album and an absolute classic. If you haven't heard it or you haven't got it, then you need to check it out if you're a fan of any sort of rocky kind of stuff. They only did really one proper album, but they did another, well, this one for example, The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, which is the soundtrack to the movie Who Killed Bambi there on the back, which is one of the tracks on there and inside. This is an interesting album. It's got some interesting stuff on it. So a few outtakes from earlier in their career, which didn't go on the first album. Things like Belsom Was a Gas, which would probably have made it onto a second album if they'd have done one, like a proper one. And a lot of stuff with basically Sid Vicious on vocals, and also Steve Jones does vocals for a couple. Paul Cook does vocals for one. Malcolm McLaren does some vocals for like You Need Hands, for example. And also Eddie Tempole from Tempole Tudor does vocals on it as well. But there's some good stuff on here. The title track's really cool. It's got an alternative version of Anarchy on here, which is really good. A couple of tracks with Ronnie Biggs, the Great Train Robber, on vocals as well. He does Balsam Was a Gas, and he also does No One Is Innocent. They're both pretty cool tracks. I mean, it's worth getting. It was a double album when it came out on vinyl, and it's got My Way, the Sid Vicious version of that, which is awesome. Just loads of really cool, outtakes and interesting stuff. Obviously not as good as the first album, but it is still well worth a listen and enjoyable, I think. And the film's pretty crazy as well, so if you get a chance to check that out, then do so. Pretty sure it's out of print now, but it's worth a go. The only other album of theirs I've got is this one, which is The Worst of the Sex Pistols. This is kind of interviews and alternative versions of songs. It's 2 CDs. I think the second CD is pretty much their Winterland concert, which was the last concert they did. And yeah, so there's other bits on here as well. A few interview segments and like B-sides and things like No Fun and Satellite as well, which was the B-side of Holidays in the Sun, but it's a different version of that. It's not the original version that is on the B-side of Holidays in the Sun, which I have got the original 7-inch single. But blah blah blah. Worst of the Sex Pistols is, I don't think it's not an official release at all. But it is, if you can pick it up, it's kind of interesting if you like them. By no means essential. Next, what have we got? Sick of It All, Just Look Around, New York hardcore band from the 90s. 1992 this one came out. Decent album, like around that sort of time. Obviously there was grunge and there was like the New York hardcore scene, things like Biohazard and these guys and Life of Agony and what have you. Yeah, good album this one. Preferred this style of stuff to the grungy stuff to a degree. But yeah, the early 90s, it was a bit of a weird time for rock and metal, but yeah, good band from that time. I've got some Sum 41 stuff. They were around this is like early 2000s. This one's their first album, Killer No Filler, Fat Lip, In Too Deep, etc. So yeah, super catchy stuff. Some good stuff on here, to be fair. They were a pretty good band, a little bit underrated, I think. Yeah, all this stuff's pretty much bequeathed to me by my brother. He had a bunch of CDs. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know. He gave me some stuff, and his Sum 41 collection was in there. So that's the first album. Half Hour of Power. And another decent one. Some of the stuff I've not oh fuck me, pisses me off with the CDs falling out all the time. Half Hour of Power. Yeah, what's on here? Have I heard any of the stuff on here? Literally sweating out. Yeah, not really too familiar with that one. And we've got Chuck. Still got the original price tag on there, $12.99 from Virgin. That's that one there. And this one, Does This Look Infected? This one comes with a bonus DVD as well. So yeah, that's that. That's my Sum 41 bits and bobs. So only really the first album I've really truly checked out, so I need to listen to the rest of them. Apparently they are pretty cool, so yeah. Next we have Sisters of Mercy. This one came out, I was still at school when this came out. And Floodland is a great album, to be honest with you. Good gothic, yeah, good stuff. Let's see, it came out, must have been about 87, so yeah, I was 15. Things like Dominion, Mother Russia, Lucretia, My Reflection, This Corrosion, with the big singles from it. But yeah, it's quite a dark and doomy album, but still kind of not too, it's not like Typo Negative or something. who are still good, but yeah, doomy, but with a bit of a dancey, you know, good production, good album. This is the album that came out after it, Vision Thing. This is a bit more up tempo as well, a bit more rocky, a bit more metal, I guess. I think, yeah, Jim Steinman was involved in this one as well. Vision Thing, the title track's awesome. Detonation Boulevard, Dr. Jeep, lots of good stuff on here. So another really good rocking album. This is another Inherited album, Sworn Enemy. Don't really know it, not checked it out. Let me know how this one is, if you know of it. We'll give that a listen to at some point. 2007 this one came out. What else have we got here? Oh yeah, this one you'll see, this was on my last, this is Scritti Politti, Keep It in Sight, 85. This was on my last stuff I picked up video. So yeah, still not listened to that yet. This one is There's a Riot Going On, Sly and the Family Stone. Absolute classic album. This one's got Family Affair on it, which is probably the most famous track on here. But yeah, really good funky stuff. We can piece together when it came out, 70 maybe something, 1, 4, can't see properly, 71. So yeah, but still sounds really cool to this day. Good album, classic album. And the last one I'm going to show for today is the original Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, which is a must in anyone's collection. Loads of really cool stuff on here. Obviously all the stuff from the Bee Gees, like Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, Night Fever, More Than a Woman, etc. It's got Jive Talking as well, You Should Be Dancing, Boogie Shoes by Casey and the Sunshine Band, Disco Inferno by the Tramps. And some, like, yeah, just loads of really cool stuff, man. Not sure if this is the full version. Let's have a look. If I Can't Have You by Von Elliman. Oh, yeah, Manhattan Skyline's on there. That's a really cool instrumental track. Yeah, loads of really good stuff on here, man. It's an absolutely essential movie soundtrack. The film was really cool back in its time. But yeah, because there's all day long, absolutely superb. That's it for today. I'm going to go and cool down a bit because honestly I am baking to death. It's like 30 degrees and yeah, it's super hot. So yeah, hope you're all having a great time and I will catch you all next week. We may have the Scorpions top 10 ranking up at that point. Otherwise we might just do more S's. You'll have to wait and see, it'll be a surprise. But have a great weekend. Thanks again for watching and take it steady, we all see you later.